was warm this morning.
Okay, it's 7:00. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Roll call. Nancy? Here. Laura? Here. Jay?
Here.
Andrea? Here. Ross?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Okay, upcoming legislation.
Just one piece.
Okay. I'm ready.
Just the pending ordinance is all that we have on our plate currently.
The one that we just read first?
Yeah.
First
Oh,
reading. Okay.
Is there any questions?
The only thing, it's not necessarily legislation, I put it on down here, was the proposed utility classes and pay scale.
Mhm.
That will be in front of you. That doesn't require legislation, but it does require a motion. That'll be on the next agenda.
What percentage? We have what they are now, but we can see, so we can see what the percentage is.
Okay, if there's anything else, we're gonna move on.
It's on the sheet I passed out.
We're gonna stay on the agenda. The ride for the Cure event. Did you all, I know I sent this a while back, did you all look at, the agenda the itinerary he had? I know I spoke with the chief. We're gonna work on some things, they're gonna have volunteers for their parade, shut down the roads. I talked to him about that. And that was pretty much it. They were really good at cleaning up their own trash last year. Really didn't have any problems that I heard of. So is there any questions, issues with this? I'm probably going to have him come in at our next regular meeting because he'd like to get this approved so we can start advertising.
And as far as that event, I will also be, I'll send it out to council for the Easter egg hunt. Some road
Yeah,
closures
Because
for
I
that.
told him he would have to do a permit. Wouldn't cost anything, but
I've got a map put together and everything else. for
because
him.
he has food trucks of his, so since he's serving the public, he'll have to get a special events permit.
He's having food trucks at the Easter egg hunt.
No, I'm talking about
The
the
rifle
bike thing.
Oh, I'm at the Easter egg hunt.
Having sandwiches.
He just wants his chocolate.
Fried
egg.
egg sandwiches, did you?
So yeah,
Or fried rabbit.
okay. So no issues with that. I'll get with him. Then Mayor, I'll get with you if he's able to come next month. Do you want to go and discuss the utility classes and pay schedule before we get in the budget, or you want to kind of do it as we're going along?
We can go ahead and go through it now if you want, just very briefly. You have what I sent out. The first page says 2024 wage. That is what was approved and what they are currently getting as of now. And the next page is proposed 2024 wage. What we ran into, you'll notice down at the bottom of the first page, operator class A, B, C, C, and D. You'll notice that got expanded drastically. And the biggest thing is we had to add a sewer license 3. Our plant is now over 1 million gallon, rated for over 1 million gallon plant, and it requires a class 3 sewer license to operate the plant. We've never had that before, so we didn't have it on the pay scale.
Yeah.
And now that it's there, we have to put it on the pay scale and figure out what we was going to do. I sat down with our new plant superintendent when we started through this stuff, and we kind of went through a lot of these. We had in the past, one of our guys at the plant had a 2 sewer, 0 water, and he was paid less money than a guy with a 1 water and a 1 sewer. They each had taken 2 tests, and our plant superintendent, Jim, was saying, this ought to be, if you do 2 tests, then here's where you ought to be. And he said, basically getting the initial tests are pretty basic and easy. So we got a guy who took 2 entry-level tests, and he had a higher class rating than a guy that's taken 2.
Yeah.
It worked his way up on the sewer side. So anyway, we went through that. We put it together. And then as you'll see down here for supervisor, we had a line for what we paid supervisor and superintendents. We currently do not have a supervisor. And what we looked at and to put them in line with where we kind of have everything, it just kind of made sense. If we look at the supervisor's license, and if he's paid 14% more than a plant operator with the same license, that's kind of puts them in the pay scale of where they were on the chart in the administrative employee guideline handbook. And the thing is, if you become a supervisor, you're now working salary, so you've just given up all and any overtime. So by paying the supervisor 14% more than a guy with the same license, kind of offsets the thing for getting called in additional hours and losing overtime.
Is that in line with other places?
That we're very much in line with a lot of the other places around. The superintendent requirements, that was 18%, is what we put that in, which is basically a 4% raise over what the supervisor would make. It's also kind of based on the license and so on and so forth. And that one is also kind of in line with some of the other places around. So this is what it is. Like I said, on the front page, it'll show what we're currently paying, what's been approved. This page here shows what would happen. Nobody will wind up losing any pay. The biggest thing we ran into is Greg was kind of up here on the scale. He will not lose anything. He will stay where he's at. John, who was rated below him, would become a class higher and would step up even with Greg.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the thing works out. It doesn't affect our utility tech out there. He would still get what he was in the employee guidelines book. And the only other one then that would affect would be Jim, our plant superintendent, because we added a class 3 that
Right.
went up, so he would get a little bit of a raise on that. So that's kind of where we're at with this right now.
Did you get this, this chart, this table that you're doing, did you copy it from another
No,
municipality?
no.
So
I
how
took
did you come up with this?
with the wages or the chart itself,
The chart, I mean, and,
the classes.
yeah,
The classes we came up just basically speaking with our plant superintendent. You'll see we added a class E. If you take one test, whether it be one water or one sewer, you're a class E. Class D, you'll see everyone in class D has taken 2 tests unless you had that 3 water license. The thing about a 3 water license, we don't require a 3 water license, so we didn't see any reason to give them extra money, because if we've got a guy that goes out and gets a class 3 water license and he doesn't have any sewer, he can't do anything that a guy with a class 1 water license
okay.
can do. So that's why he's kind of dropped down. We're not counting that class. If you got a class 3 water, we're counting it as a class 2. And if you look up the next section in class B, to get to a class B, you've taken 4 tests.
Except for the top one, they've taken 5, right?
And at the top in class,
B,
well,
we have a 5.
once again, because that's that 3 water license. And if you got a 3 water, we're counting that as a 2 water.
Oh,
Just
okay.
so we're not rewarding that
Is that
extra
because
pay.
we're not a class 3 water plant?
Correct.
Correct.
Are we going to be soon?
Not in the
Not-
near future.
Not even
Not in
close
my
to the,
lifetime.
not even close to the near future.
Oh, really? Is that big a difference?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
A class between a class,
Like
there's
10 million.
a good chance that we probably won't be a class 2 water plant for a while.
Oh, right now we're only 1.
We're only 1.
Yeah.
And to be, like you said, to be class 3, you're looking at someone like Columbus.
Oh.
So it's just, it's not even in the future, not even the foreseeable
Oh,
future.
okay.
And then, like I said, with the class A, you've taken 5 tests to get to a class A. So that's kind of how we lined it up when we set it up, so no one lost any money.
Can we, I mean, I know this is probably not what a council person's supposed to do, but can we make the percentages for the supervisor and superintendent higher so we're on the high end so we don't lose them?
Oh, they're not going anywhere.
I think we're okay with
Yeah.
with this 18% and the 14%. We're good.
Yeah.
We're comparable.
Okay.
We don't. That's
I
not
mean, we
going to.
just don't want
And that's it. We can't afford to lose them, and with what we
Right.
pay, we don't.
to. Okay.
I don't see them going
Well,
anywhere.
no, honestly, anybody out there can make more money because they can all be hired on the Columbus. You have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off and you're working midnight to 8 the rest of your life.
Hmm.
You know, you can make more money, but you don't have a home life, you don't have a life.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
I mean,
like I said, we had to add a class 3 somewhere in there, and that's kind of how we came up with everything that's there.
Okay. Now we're gonna get to the fun part,
yeah.
the budget.
I'm going to make sure they can hear everything outside.
They don't.
Oh, I got it.
Later.
Can I go too?
That's what I was wondering. Are you out, Paula? I'm not crawling her pocket.
No minutes to
It's
take
gonna
for
take too
budget.
long. There's no minutes.
Yeah.
There's no minutes, it's hours.
Oh.
See you next week.
Okay.
So excited.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start on this. The security of persons and property.
That's your police department.
Yes. If you look over there, like the operating supplies and materials for fuel, wiper blades, things like that. Capital outlay is for like brand new items. The rest of it, some of it is what it is. Workers' comp, stuff like that. So, are there any questions on this section?
I do. Why do we have a 23.3% increase on salary for full-time police officers?
Will be the first year that we've had full-time staffing. And if we reach full staffing, that's what it'll cost.
It'll be 400.
That's the
No.
way, is
Let
that
me just-
correct?
Let her
Let me
explain it.
just give an example on the
Okay.
wages.
Okay.
So when it comes to the wages, I guesstimate.
Okay.
Because like right now, we're down 2 officers.
Right.
We're gonna get 2 more officers, hopefully. With overtime, possibly. If they leave, they now get paid full out, sick time, personal time, and vacation time. So I have to budget for all of those. We were getting to the point where we were budgeting to the penny.
Oh.
And I'd have to come back to council every year and say, hey,
Yeah,
I need to move money, I need to move money. So in every single person's wage line item, there is a little bit of what a previous council member used to call a cushion.
Yeah.
Just so that we don't have to come back. That doesn't mean we're gonna spend all $400,000.
So is the 271 closer to what we would
That's what we spent in 2023.
and we didn't have full staff for the entire year, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
No time.
Yeah, we was up to full staff for about 4 months.
Oh, was it that long? I was thinking 4 weeks. Were we really?
So, yeah.
Any
that's-
more questions regarding this part with the police
No.
department? Okay. We're gonna move on. Street lighting, that is what it is. Traffic signals, sign and marking. It's.
So you'll see it's a little bit different this year because we now have the traffic signal out there at Kenmore and 762. We have to have a contract for ODOT for that. So
Right.
that's why the increase is in there.
Oh, that's right.
So the electricity is going to go up $4,700.
You have to pay for that light. That will be turned over to us. And right now it's just blinking. I don't know how long it will blink, but I have no idea how much a traffic light like that costs. So that's why I put a little bit of a buffer in there. It could come back and be more than that. I don't know, because this is our first time having that type of a light.
We'll have a maintenance contract.
That's what the
There's a part-
10,000 is.
Yeah, that's
like,
like 10,000.
Josh, or
Jess Howard.
Jess Howard, yeah.
The next section is public health services. Those amounts are what they are. Next is community planning and zoning. This is zoning inspector, accounting and legal fees, all that kind of stuff. Are there any questions regarding this?
Are we doing a lot more tree removal and mowing?
We have never done tree removal. Jim has taken the time to go around the village and see which trees per the school. They called and said, hey, these trees are hitting our buses, the fire departments, they're hitting our fire trucks. Jim went around the entire village and decided which trees needed to be trimmed. He gave the residents the option to trim them themselves. A lot of them did. We are down to, I think, 2 that we actually have to go down and cut ourselves.
Does that get charged back on their taxes?
No.
No.
Okay.
Council decided to do this action last summer.
Summer.
Yeah.
Last fall is kind of when we went into this whole thing. And yeah, and it's not 2 trees, it's 2
2 residents.
residents. So there's numerous trees, I believe, on one of the residents.
Mhm.
So,
Why does that not fall on the resident?
because council voted not to do it.
Oh, okay.
Well, we asked and we
Right, it
couldn't
was in the right
because,
of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're sitting in the right of way.
yeah, it's not that we didn't ask. We asked because we'd love to,
Make them do it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in the right of way, absolutely.
And at the time the developments were put in, it was permitted.
Oh, okay.
so some of them, we couldn't tell which tree was like grandfathered in and which wasn't.
Right.
So, we just kind of let it back.
So now that we have a list, we can go around each year and keep giving the options every other year, trim your tree or cutting it out.
At this point forward, now that we have that
Yeah.
zoning law in
They can't
effect,
do it.
they can't plant them in
There
the
shouldn't
right
be
of
any
way.
additional.
So,
So,
Yeah, and it's not trimming the tree for them, it's cutting it out. Like it's
Yeah.
one and done,
Done.
like you
Oh,
don't want
so
to trim
yeah.
it.
if
take
we
it out.
do it,
We
it's
take it
gone.
out. Yeah,
Oh.
it's the whole
Yeah.
kit and caboodle.
We're not
I
going
ain't
to go back
asking
and trim.
again.
We don't have
Yeah.
to poo-poo with it later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, next is transportation. I wanted to go over some of the things that our street department is wanting. Some, I mean, it's my personal opinion. I think a lot of it's needed. Some of it maybe not. We may have that list in there. The zero turn, the brush cutter, liquid spray brine, the bush hog with and a paint sprayer. Tractor, we have to upgrade to a bigger tractor. So hopefully, now he'd be able to get those ditches that we've been wanting to get cleaned out. The Kubota is what I'm stuck on, that I don't think that that's something the village really needs. I think he has a golf cart now. He can go around and spray things.
Is that what the Kubota is? The side by side with the utility bed? Is that what we're talking about?
It's
I
like a
don't know.
souped
It's
up,
not-
it's like a souped up golf cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, it's like a-
gator,
like a
but
side by
it's-
side.
It's basically
Yeah.
like a gator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't-
I mean,
I'm with you too. I don't think. we
Well,
need
if
to
he's
do
going to
that.
continue to use the golf cart, then
Yeah.
we're going to have to get it street legal.
The golf carts really won't go some of the places where you.
Well, no, he needs something four-wheel drive as we grow. I mean,
Is there a truck that's already assigned to the street department?
The street department has trucks, but
Okay,
he's using this to do stuff far as weed eating, where you drive and spray.
As you're going by.
As you're going by.
Yeah.
I don't, I
Drive
mean, as we,
spray.
if we are able to
Kinda like you
do
see
our
on-
walking path and stuff, we're gonna have something that'll go all the way along them.
See on the-
But
when they're
I
doing
guess
that.
my thing is, some of the
I've
stuff
never
that
seen
I would
one
like
of
to
those.
have a bid
Yeah,
process.
I see them
for council
walking
to
out,
make sure
just
we're
walking and
getting
doing
our
stuff.
value. If we just put that lump sum in the budget, they don't have to come back to us. I mean, I know you afford that, just to let us know. But I don't know if I like just having them, bulk amount in the budget and then they can go buy whatever from whoever.
Well, they have, and Wendy's gotten
They
the
break it
paperwork
down.
on this. We've gotten all the, they've went out and looked at different places and came back with different figures and so on. Like with the tractor, it's 89,000. They're giving us a trade-in value more than the tractor we have now is 2 years old.
Right.
And we're getting more money for it than what we
We
paid
gave
for it.
for it.
Sure.
So that's
Great.
kind of like becomes a no-brainer real
Yeah.
quick. Our zero turn, the mower, there's 2 zero turns out there. The water department had bought one, the street department bought one, and the one at the water department's, I don't know, what is it, 10 years old?
Yeah, it needed to be turned 2 or 3 years ago.
So that's what some of that stuff is. Like I said, the bush hog, and the bush hog, we're looking at doing instead of a 7-foot bush hog, a 15-foot bat wing bush hog.
Hit the ditches.
And that way you can, the village is not just necessarily for ditches. We are sitting here now, we have, we've taken in all that land out there at K Nova.
Yeah, I know,
Out there at the
right.
warehouse, we have that strip we call California. We have the 7 acres north of the water plant.
Yep.
We have, what is it?
Well field.
The well fields that they're mowing and
11 acres.
everything else. So that's kind of like the idea of getting, you send a guy down there doing 7-foot swipes, or you send him down doing 15-foot swipes.
I think at least for the Kubota, getting back to that, I'm not cool with 30,000, but if they had one that was cheaper, I might entertain.
I'll be
that
honest with
idea.
you, you're not gonna get one that's gonna do what he needs for less than 30,000. It's just, is it a need now? I
I'm
mean,
thinking
30,000 is
next year.
actually a good price, because we've looked at them, and we were looking at some that were like 42 to 46,000, and they still didn't have all the bells and whistles.
He always finds the deal.
I mean, now side by sides are different than the commercial. I would suggest that, I would say they're probably looking at a diesel,
Oh, yeah.
would be my guess.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not gonna touch one for less than that, I'll be honest. I mean, it's just, do we think it's something that has to happen this year? Or can it wait? I guess that's my only question.
Yeah.
Does it need this
My
year?
feeling is
or does
next
it-
year, because we're doing
I mean,
so much.
If we're adding all this other stuff, we're going the mower, when I talked to Mike, so we're going to a 72-inch commercial mower versus what he has, which is a big upgrade.
That, I'm
And
not,
he needs the tractor,
That's a need.
that's a need, and we're getting a heck of a trade in. I mean, I'm good with the 48,000 knocking it off.
right. I think
I mean,
all of that is a lot.
I
If we
guess-
wait till next year on the
Is it
Kubota,
needed?
I'm fine with that.
what's the
Or at
need
least
for the
revisit
Kubota
it.
this year?
Yeah.
Or is it just a wish list?
I won't say necessarily a wish list. Council wants, like I said, I looked upon as getting a golf cart that's not street legal off the street.
Well,
That's
if we
that's
don't
my
have it,
problem.
We've got to follow our own rules. I
Well, you
mean,
can buy,
That's my biggest problem
you can
now.
buy a golf cart that's street legal a heck of a lot cheaper than this.
But it's ultimately not going to do what we need done either. You're not going to take a golf cart down to the well field for, hey, I need to go down and spray weeds.
How has he been doing it all this time?
take off the tractor. Or off of the zero turn, I think he said.
Maybe he's taking the zero turn and riding mower down places doing stuff.
I would like, I mean, if it.
I mean, if this council, if you want to hold it off, is, it is what it is.
I would
It's
like
your
to be
ultimate
able
decision.
I would like to be able to talk to them and find out their thoughts of need this year. I don't have a problem with anything else on the list personally, but I just don't know that if it's a need and they can convey that need, then cool.
It's
But
something we can always come back to later, but I mean, I would like to know, how often do you use this? Am I getting, $31,000 worth of use? That's just me.
The
What is
lifespan of
the-
that's gonna
I
be
was just
probably
about to ask,
6
what's
to
the
10
life-
10 years probably if it's a diesel, and probably 4-wheel drive. I would think that's what they would be looking at that. And that Kubota, that's probably a government price. Because if we went in to buy it, it would be probably $37,900 to $40,000.
What's the maintenance that you're looking on
It's
for
very
that
little.
each year?
Very, very little. I mean, oil changes, and then obviously if something breaks. But it's the maintenance on those is not much if it's used properly and it's maintained properly. I mean, that's just.
Well, we know that.
Was that in last year's budget, Wendy? I keep thinking that was
So.
placed in last, the
Was it a
Kubota was in
carryover?
last year's budget and they never bought it.
I don't remember, to be honest.
I
do
think
not.
I don't remember that either.
I think that was in last year's budget and it wasn't bought, so they went a year without it, they can go another year.
Well, I mean,
That's-
like I said, if they can come in and
Well, we're not gonna come in, have them coming in
Yeah.
whining for every
no,
little
no,
item.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Well, no,
maybe-
not even coming in. I mean, it's,
Okay.
hey, there's what he presented. That's what he would like to have. If you say, no, we can't do it this year, fine, we move on.
I mean, it's probably anything else. I just that one I
Yeah.
questioned.
I think the consensus is.
Okay, but these numbers none of these numbers are in the budget the way it is now.
Yes, it is. It's in the 150,000 under the
It's in.
capital outlay for the streets department.
It's the last line there,
625.90.
right there, 150.
My double vision is pulling.
Well, there's 150 twice, so that might have.
Well,
confused
I was
you. What's the
looking,
land and buildings? I have to ask that out of ignorance.
So that is the barn that they are having built. That was approved in last year's budget. So it's actually just now getting built. So the barn itself has already been paid for. We got prices for concrete,
Yep.
for electric, for garage doors,
Okay.
garage door openers. It roughly came in a little bit under 100,000, but we just wanted to make sure we had all of our bases covered.
So if it's only 100,000, once again, out of this being my first year, that extra 50,000 just can't be spent on anything else, right?
Right.
yeah, and that's exactly it. If it's
Yeah.
land and buildings, it can only be spent for land and buildings,
So
not
if-
a Kubota.
Well, no, if they spend 100 on the building, they just can't go put whatever else they want in the building for that extra 50, can they? Like if they
They,
want to put a couple lifts in.
if they want, well, a lift wouldn't be considered
Well,
land
I
and building.
just use that
It's
as
50,000, so don't they have authorization to approve 50,000?
The
village
the
administrator?
village administrator can
75,000?
authorize 75,000 is what it's been raised to.
Yeah.
So if you put it in the line item, yes, he can spend it. But like I said, that's been a problem, I guess, in previous administrations.
well, it wasn't much
was
early.
where they could just go out and do whatever.
I guess sometimes people have a tendency to, I don't know.
They've been really good with coming to us though and saying, hey, we
But
need this.
They don't have to.
No,
If
they
we
don't
tell
have
them no,
to,
they can still
but-
buy it. That my only thing is having a $50,000 buffer.
And I don't know that it's 50,000, so I have a price quote for the electric, which is 54.5. That's the electric. Then I have a price quote for the 2-inch double-sided steel insulated doors of 16,000. I have another price for the Lift Master drawbar openers of 6,000, and then I have the remotes price. So I don't know what the electric is. We don't have a quote for that. So that's why I put what I did.
Okay, if nothing else on that, move along. Streets, sidewalks and curbs. See, we've got I know we've been talking about street project the past few years and the amount just keeps getting more and more, but I think Bell Shelter is getting close to needing redone, and there's some drainage issues.
So would that come out, the storm sewer drainage and stuff, would that not supposed to come out of the water sewer budget?
The water sewer is separate budgets by law.
Well, but I mean, if we're doing repair to the storm sewer.
Storm sewer is not the
Storm
same as
sewer
It's
water.
not?
No,
Yeah.
We're talking public drinking water
Okay.
versus
fair enough.
storm sewer.
yeah, that's a good question, because, yeah.
Yeah,
It's water.
well, and I thought it went to that plan. I thought it
No.
drained out and went.
No.
Okay.
There's
Thank you.
also, I already have the quote, I wish I would have looked it up, for the next part of sidewalk. I think it was around
Where are we
17,000.
wanting to do that?
That would be, we just did that one last year.
Up Front Street?
Yeah, Front
Okay.
Street. It would continue on Front Street to go to where our Village of Commercial Point sign is.
Can we maybe connect some of the ones that end and don't go anywhere? Like on Main Street? When you get to Boggs and you're done, you can't cross and go to a
Well, I
sidewalk
don't
at all.
think, I think having it on the highway, is that what you're talking about? Like on
Yeah, well, I
762?
mean, we go to Main and when you get to Boggs, whether you cross the street or you keep, there's nothing. I mean, there's no
Wasn't
sidewalk
there,
anywhere.
what was it that we talked about that?
Bogs, where am I?
And
There at Belshazzar and Main.
just having a
It's
sidewalk,
beside it,
East
Belshazzar,
side,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Okay, okay.
but honestly, with his dogs running around loose, I'd be afraid to walk by there. But,
I mean, you could go to the other side.
well,
But then that would just connect it to the one that ends at the old post office. You know what I mean? So you could put a crosswalk and then they would be able to walk on a sidewalk in front of Keevan Hills Rental, in front of
Lou
Lou
Sherrick.
Sherrick's, and then it'll connect. Because literally you get there and there's
Yeah.
nothing.
I mean,
And we
there's
have
nothing-
people that are
There's a
walking.
there's
sidewalk.
nothing that says we can't do both.
Is there one in front of Lou's? I thought it
Yeah.
ended at the
No,
end.
it goes clear
No,
out of
it
the free
does,
store.
yeah, it's in front of
Okay.
Lou's, yeah. There, if there's a small strip up that way that needs connected, there's nothing that says we can't just do that small strip at the same time that they're doing the one down there. Then after that, we get to township, or then we have to go to the township and ask for easements.
And I know a lot of those residents want to fight us tooth and nail.
But if they give us the right of way, and then
Yeah.
the path would go up that way to eventually connect to Chestnut. That's like that's,
Have we, and this is once again, out of being new, are we still thinking about connecting Chestnut to the school?
no,
Eminent domain is for Timmons and bringing it down to connect to the school?
Look at
no.
me.
I'm just asking.
This is a council thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, and why not? Because that's, that can be TIF monies used because that services.
No,
It
can't,
can.
because it has to be, what was the reason we can't use the TIF dollars?
Had to be within
It
so
had to be
close,
like
didn't it?
walking
You have to.
distance.
You have to be within-
We can't,
5.
But however the
walking
tip's written,
miles.
yeah,
that's what you have to
so we
follow.
It
can't,
has to be
that's
within so.
what
close.
stinks, but,
Well, I mean, and I would say the school would probably help us because then they could eliminate,
I know they're
middle
already
school buses.
favoring for money.
because then they would be walking.
say,
I mean, I don't know. I just,
well,
I think it's
that's
some damage
that's a
control.
few years down the road, I think, where we hurdle that, but I would like to get
personally,
that.
I think the ones going up Front Street are a waste, but I mean,
No, actually, people from Genoa and places like that are very happy, because if you go that way, the people walk on the road, people fly on that road, and kids have almost gotten hit. But the ultimate goal is to go through there and go up through the cemetery and around on our part over by Fannon's farm, which would then connect to Chestnut.
so we're going to have a sidewalk that can't be used after dusk.
And it might not even be a sidewalk at that point. It probably would be a multi-use path.
No, but still can't be used after dusk because you can't go through a cemetery after dusk. It's against the law.
Yeah, I don't have any fear of anybody getting arrested for it. But
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
So I guess, just to back up there, is council looking at doing a major street project this year?
I think we have to look at Belshazzar. I think that some things that we may not need is all the fancy lighting, since the lights in the park literally light up
Light
that
up.
area.
They light up the
Yeah, it
street on,
is.
for
I mean,
me
you
on
can
the
see
way.
it from north of Commons.
That's light pollution. I can see it from my house. That's
No,
light
That's a
pollution.
good point. Does that keep you awake at night? You have to close your blinds. I know the answer.
I
You'd be
do.
surprised
I know
because
the
the
answer,
sign-
you do.
I do because the sign out front here.
I know.
Blinds me.
Last
Our-
year,
our own
Is
sign.
Belshazzar going to be used enough to put that much money in right now? Because there's
We have new
Oh, it's
businesses
been-
down
there's
there.
one business there
We've been
Well,
that
we've
went
been
into that
really
building.
putting it off though.
Well, Belshazzar, I think, came up. Ross, when's the first time it came up?
Were
Oh,
you?
Well, I
heavens.
started, the project was started 5 years ago.
I was gonna say, I feel like we've talked about it the whole time I've been in.
And the
Back
cost,
then, it was probably
and
300.
at that time, it was $362,000.
It's 500 enough
And
now,
now it's
No.
700.
so that's not even enough to do that.
Well, that's two
Well-
different funds
You
you
can
can
get 'em from
take the
different
money
funds.
out of.
There are other,
Done.
I mean, state highway funds are gonna have to take care of some of the corners up front and some of that, and there are some other things. But it's, if we're gonna create, here's my dilemma. We're putting all these sidewalks together that go to where?
No, that's
No, I mean, but I'm saying theoretically, to me, they should come downtown. To what?
right. And that's my question.
To what? There's nothing there. An old downtown, with a broken up street and a couple bars. Oh, that's great. It's a good place. That's a great
Makes it
reason
seem
to
like
want
a
to.
Well,
Wild
the more
West
that,
town.
the more that we have, events down there.
Well, and the nicer it is, the more, I mean, there are just a lot of reasons. And the drainage has been a problem for years. There's just a lot of other things that go into it. But I'm not going down that path anymore.
Existing sidewalks on Main Street are a problem.
I'm sorry.
The existing sidewalks on Main Street are a problem. They're tore up, they're,
On Main Street.
On Main, those were
Well-
just put in.
Yeah.
where's the trail?
Front.
Front Street,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
front.
front.
front, where the bar is and so
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Well, it stops.
No, that, but I
At
mean,
the
they're all,
end of
they're all
your
crooked, they're all broken up, they're in bad shape.
But
Well,
doesn't
they're-
that fall on the property?
Those need to be then corrected. And
But isn't
That-
that
that
why we
needs-
delayed that? Was because we were hoping to do it all one big swoop?
And when we
I
do
don't know
Belshazzar,
if
do we
that's
redo Health, I think, or with,
Oh,
or,
okay.
I mean, 'cause that's ours too,
Oh,
right?
we
They're
own,
talking about
we own that.
On the bar side. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, make it a paid parking.
Right.
Yeah.
We get a meter made.
Put meters in there? Oh, yeah.
We
Well,
use the new
moving
app.
on, I
We
think,
use the new app for
We're getting
parking.
out of hand. We're losing control.
yeah, we're losing focus here.
Well, I mean,
Um,
if 500,000 isn't enough to do Belshazzar, then why put 500,000? Why not make it 750,000?
There-
There's
There's a
other
budget
accounts
number,
that you
Yeah.
it
pull
would
it
have to
from.
go out to bid.
Yeah.
We're just, do we want this as a budget number?
Is there anything else that's pressing, streetwise?
But,
There was not
As of,
but like you said,
2 years ago.
Mayor, here in a couple years, we may have to start repaving Chestnut and
I
stuff like
think,
that.
I think that the time is going to catch up with us.
Yeah.
You're going to have the front going in Walker Point, Edmonds Drive. That's going to become,
That's the first.
you're going to have to
that's a-
be, that's going to be one of the first ones you're going to have to do. And you're going to have a hard time explaining why are we redoing driveways and streets going into
Subdivision.
newer subdivisions and the old part of town sitting there falling apart. I mean, Belshazzar's
I
at
think
the
it
point
needs
now, you can't even crack seal that thing. I mean, the
Yeah.
whole thing
Oh,
is
but
nothing.
it's all
but
crack.
it's-
crack.
It is all
Because
crack seal now.
Yeah.
So
It has
it's,
to go way down, right? That's why it was gonna be
So would
so
anybody be
expensive.
interested in getting a bid on it?
I think we should.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it should have been done 3 years
But
ago. when it
we're,
was
and
$250,000
yeah,
less.
that's
I
fine.
think it
Yeah.
was.
Yes.
Okay, so let's
Okay.
just leave that at
We'll
that.
move
Is there any
forward
other
with that.
questions on that part? All right, the next is mayor and administrative offices. Any questions on
The only
that?
question I have is why did professional and technical services go up so much?
Wendy?
Why did we bump that, Alan?
but
The professional and technical services, there was a reason that we
We
bumped it.
spent 9 and we're going to 50.
It has to do, should have something to do with
Website.
websites.
Yeah.
That's
with,
it, that's exactly it.
All
The
new
website.
Website
Yeah.
stuff we've
Yeah.
been doing.
website,
$40,000 on a website?
We don't
Maybe.
know, we have
Push it.
no idea.
that's a placeholder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't look at me and say
I was-
$40,000.
I was
better be
like,
cutting
she was like,
edge.
wait a minute.
It's just a push it. All of
Okay,
this is all
I-
inflated.
I know, but I didn't know if we had like a bid or.
The
and a
Go
quote or
Gov?
anything.
That's
Okay.
Yes.
3,800.
That's gonna have all
Okay,
that.
now that's
And that was what,
3,800.
30
Okay, yeah.
30
A month?
$3,600 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's okay, but I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa.
I just, the
Alright.
jump.
Yeah, but we're talking about other things too. You've been for a year.
Does this include the
looking
cloud
at-
storage?
trying to upload cloud storage and
Exactly.
then bring them in. And once the cloud storage is caught up,
That's fine.
get get the website taken care of so the public can access
Yeah.
that. We're also looking, let people pay
Oh, my Lord.
traffic tickets online.
That's fine.
You're looking at stuff like that we're really getting behind the
Yeah, we're
times.
gonna try to get all that done in this budget year.
I won't say that it's going to get done by no means,
Is that our goal?
but that's a placeholder. If we are able to do it, we know we got the money to do
Fair
it.
enough.
The only other thing, Alan's probably gonna kill me for mentioning this, is under like machinery, equipment, furniture, things. I think, we did well on upgrading our landscaping out there to make it look more presentable. I think it would be nice to have the concrete, whether they be the standing square ones or the round ones, like flower pots out there.
That would
I
be
think
land
would-
and buildings, not
Well, she said I
not
could take it
machinery,
out of that.
equipment.
We
furniture.
could take it out of
Couldn't
there
that come out of
as,
Yeah.
park?
we could, but no, it does, because it has to do with this building.
Couldn't the flowers and stuff come out of the park?
I would think.
I mean, all the beautification of the village could come out of the park. That's what Bloomfield, Nashville, that's where that comes from.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like we've got.
I mean,
quite a bit of money.
machinery, equipment, and furniture isn't
I wouldn't want to
necessarily
use it to
necessarily
beautify over here.
flower
The
pots in front of the
landscaping, when they
building.
did all the landscaping, didn't come out of Parks and Rec.
Well,
So,
but you're gonna start holding stuff over here, so, I mean, we want it to look
in the
nice.
back,
Right, but they're gonna come in the front. I mean, I don't see, there's money sitting there in the parks. I just don't understand why some of it can't go through.
well, because we hope to one day purchase land, so we don't want to,
And money's gonna continue to come in every time they break down on the house.
and inflation's going up, places, things are more expensive.
Yeah, we could take it out of here if that's what they're wanting to take it out
Well,
of.
we can mix it, I really don't care, I was just trying to make it pretty.
I was thinking like 50.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
I don't care if we get it, but I don't think machinery, equipment, furniture is the place to pull that out of. That was my only comment.
What's that?
Uh,
What's that?
flower pots.
No, the machinery, equipment and furniture, what is that?
IBM machine,
Copy
printers,
machines.
copiers,
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, next
yeah,
is
computers.
legislative
Oh, yeah.
council activities. Any questions on this?
What's that? Oh, there it is.
The reason for the accounting and legal fee increase is because of your settlement.
Oh, okay, that was, I kind of figured that.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, moving on. Mayor's court. Any questions on that?
Man, that magistrate fee, that's high.
The magistrate or the prosecutor?
I think
Well,
he was.
yeah.
Okay.
Bill,
Sarcastic, because I was like, what?
Mm.
Bill, are you worth that much?
I mean, he's hearing 2 tickets a quarter. He's hearing 2 tickets a quarter.
Just saying.
Couldn't even buy him dinner.
Okay.
Can't buy me dinner.
Is
Mhm.
50,000 what the prosecutor's making us pay?
It's part of a package, so we are billed a set amount per month from his office. Part of that is the mayor's court, so rather than taking that all out of
Yeah.
the regular fund, I take the mayor's court piece out of this line item.
Also, some of that prosecutor money is,
It's only prosecutor, it's only mayor's.
I'm sorry, I thought the county was charging us for use of their prosecutor for
No,
stuff.
no, no,
Okay,
no,
I'm
this is
sorry.
ours.
No, we send very few cases down there, and it's only if they need an interpreter
Oh, okay,
or if it's a second DUI.
right, the ones you have to.
Yeah,
Anyhow, yeah.
or domestic.
Mine was, I thought they were charging us that much.
No,
No, some prosecutors do charge villages for a per month basis
Yeah,
to do their work down there. The last case that we sent down there, I had to go down there and prosecute it because they refused. So
oh. So it actually got,
All right, the next portion is fiscal officer. Any questions on that?
is this where we discuss, giving our office workers a bigger raise?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it seems like everybody else is going up, but
But
they're doing more and more.
I think this has been handled the same way though. Haven't we put this on the same?
Council just did the raise with the
No.
employee administrative
Yeah.
guidelines
The
book that
50
was
cents?
approved.
Yeah.
The 50 cent?
No, it was $1 an
Oh.
hour.
Dollar, okay.
Yeah.
And some of them working still through their steps are getting, well, if you're a police officer and you're working your way through your steps and council gave you $1 an hour raise and you're getting another $1 an hour raise, they're going to be coming up over $4,000 raise for this 1 year.
These are
Yeah.
salary positions though, so did they get a $2,080 raise? Because that's how many are in a standard work year? Right?
So everybody across the board got the dollar.
Got a
raise.
dollar an hour.
Everybody across the board.
Right, but so, but since your salary,
We broke
I
it
am
down
salaried,
as
I
if she
still got
worked
the
40
dollar.
hours.
okay, so it's 2,080,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yep.
And if you'll notice, Paula and I are both paid out of 3 different
Yes,
funds, general, water, and sewer.
I mean, are we competitive with those salaries?
I know Wendy, Paula, and Mike are topped out. But we did give, what was that, 3 years ago? We gave a 15% hike across the
Yeah.
board.
To every employee,
To
got
every
15% raise.
And then the last
Yeah.
2 years,
That
we've
was to
given,
bring everyone up to be
To
competitive.
get it to work.
and then the
Well, that's what
last,
everybody else was at $20 an hour to flip burgers.
the last 2 years, we've given $2 across the board raise. The mayor recommended $1 this time.
And keeping with inflation and where things were and our position there, we believe that was the right direction to go. That's,
So we feel that we're competitive so that we keep the highest level people that we can in those positions.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
yes, and they know better than to try to leave.
We know where they live.
I got friends in Youngstown.
What's in
Oh, that's right.
What's that mean?
Mafia.
No, I mean, I think if,
Youngstown,
the, here,
I've heard
the thing that I've been trying to, and I've told Wendy for years, the thing that I would like to see is to bring someone else in here, start sharing some responsibilities so that we won't have a disaster if somebody gets hit by a bus.
You mean wins the lotto? Let's not be negative.
I was gonna say,
Let's
that's
go
a
ahead and-
horrible.
Well, I mean,
But
She
I
will
don't
still
want
come to
her-
work if she wins the lottery.
Oh, yeah, she
Ew.
believed me.
She's like, "Nah."
No, but
But
yeah,
asking Wendy,
that's a real concern.
No,
though.
I know,
and that's
I
kind
know.
of why I asked.
Because
I
when
mean,
you start, when there's no system and you learn as it changes, you change, nobody else knows it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to a time when, that maybe it is a lottery, I don't know. But
Could be a
if,
bus.
for any reason,
it could
for
be
any
crossing the
reason,
street up here at Main and
things
Congress.
will
do
change.
you
The
feel
lights will-
that's something you need right now, Wendy?
I personally don't feel an additional person is needed.
Of course
Paula
not.
is working no overtime, so it's not like that workload is here.
Could you relinquish it if you had another person? Could you relinquish anything you're doing?
Like,
Would-
Or maybe
Could or
teach
would.
Paula.
She wouldn't, but I'm gonna ask
But
her.
you
if she
would.
could.
do you have a
Yeah.
process and procedure
Yeah.
document written up
There's
so that
too
that
many
way?
issues with state accounting and whatnot that
It has to stay with her.
for personal liability purposes, she would have to oversee it.
Yeah,
To oversee it,
Yeah.
she would do it.
So then she would want to
Might as
do
well
it
just be doing it
herself.
herself.
How many more
Because
years
she has
till
a-
she can retire?
But and Wendy and
We only
I
have 6 years.
have discussed
Yeah.
this. She hasn't been real receptive, but we have discussed this of possibly looking at bringing somebody in, if nothing else, part-time or something, just for this website stuff that we're getting into. This uploading all this has turned into a mess.
Well, I
You need a back-
know.
You need a backup.
I
We
know
only
that
have
in
6
the
years.
past, Paula uploaded all the website stuff before you came. So, I mean, is that something, since she's done it, is that
It's-
something she can do?
Well, it's
There's IT firms that we can
Yes.
hire on an independent contractor basis to help with the short term
Okay,
issues.
yeah.
So there's no, when you do
there's no rush.
day-to-day operations, you don't feel like you guys would benefit by somebody else?
I don't,
No, it'd be more,
but
it would be
Alan
more work.
would. Yeah, it would be more work for me.
More
So if you're
That's
bringing
fine.
somebody else
To
in,
help her, please don't.
well, I was gonna say, they can report to somebody else.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
Jim needs some help, maybe Alan needs some help, maybe,
Well, Alan needs help.
I don't know. You're right, it would be more work for me because I
Okay.
just like that.
And that's a problem with a person whose style is to handle everything. Is it take more
She's
aggravation.
done
But in her
better.
position,
She has done better,
I get it.
Ross.
For with what he said, I get it.
I know. It's,
Well, supervisory person trying to give up anything is tough. It really is.
yeah, of course.
And
And
that's,
she has given
You know that.
stuff up.
Especially when if something gets screwed up, you can end up in
So,
prison.
she has
Vacation.
given stuff.
somewhere on the line, you need to have a trainee
Yeah.
or another person.
Well, it's in there for if and when we ever need it.
Yeah, we need
So,
to start talking seriously about that at some point. Soon.
Okay,
Okay.
moving on. Land and buildings.
We took a lot of things out of the category that was under the mayor and administrative offices and put it into here. Because we didn't feel it really belonged under the mayor's portion, so. you'll
Flower
see-
pots coming out of furniture budget. Yeah, that didn't.
I'm just going by.
You know what?
But,
That
but,
could be
right here-
maintenance of the building.
but right here is where it makes more
Yes.
sense. It's our land and our buildings if we need. And I think something we're going to have to be looking at also, and maybe not this year, next year, go out here and look at the parking lot around this building.
Can we
Yeah,
afford
sure.
that this year? Can we afford it this year? Cause it's a.
We don't even have an estimate
I
yet.
would, yeah, I would put that on the list to price out this fall, or you can
And-
get it done first thing next year.
Yeah,
The fall's
that's
when you want to let the contract. start.
absolutely. And if you go looking at this, it's not getting any better.
No, I know.
And
I
it
know.
hasn't been touched since, well,
Well, the only thing we've done is repaired a couple drain buckets.
That
and
fell
we did
in?
crack sealing.
in crack sealing. And that's been 12 years now.
That's within the last 6 years. That's all I'm aware
Yeah,
of.
So-
because Complete Restoration came out and they did a lot of our crack sealing.
So that's kind of,
So do
yeah,
you
it's
wanna do-
that's going to be something that, and I agree with Ross, wait till towards the end of this year, we get some prices
For a project.
and
next
come
year.
into it next year.
So we don't need a budgeted.
I don't think
Okay,
Then
budgeting
we'll be first, then we'll be on the schedule first next year when the plant's
in the
open.
spring and be ready
Get
to
it
go
done
with
and out
it.
of the way before everything else.
I agree with that.
Okay, county auditor fees
those just.
are what they are.
Well, you got me.
State auditor fees.
We do have our audit this year, that's why that amount is in there, it starts on March 11th. That's an every other year expense.
And then other financing use.
What's the transfers line for?
If we need to move money within the general fund,
Like we do
That's pretty
sometimes in a
Yeah,
meeting.
okay,
that's
Yeah.
the leftover, that's what I have, that I'm allowed to budget.
okay.
So that's just what that goes into.
Okay, moving on. Special revenue funds, transportation.
This is the other part where I put the additional money for a street project.
Mhm.
What you have to remember with this one is once it's spent, it doesn't come back in this much in a year. I mean, if you look at your revenue status reports, this has been being saved up for several years.
Mhm.
Yep.
Makes
So we're-
sense. That's why it's
All
special.
three of these go into that, so we actually have budgeted 1.3 million for street things?
Totally, that's the way it reads.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, state
So it's
highway.
just Like, it's there.
Yeah.
God forbid
So
some, a
it's
bomb
what it
falls
is.
on the street.
Well,
got money.
we had a few years ago, we had the street out here in front of the building fell apart. We had other projects
Okay,
and this thing,
State highway, this is for any work on 762.
and we just picked that amount, so we have it, correct?
That is the amount that we actually have total cash in the fund plus anything I'm expecting us to take in.
Thank
Which
you.
if you look at your temporary budget, $1,900 is what we are expecting to take in.
So as you can see, for us to get up to 62,000
Took a
and we're
few
taking in
years.
1,900, it takes quite a few years to build that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Parks and Rec, I sent everybody the budget.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I
Yeah, I
do,
did.
good.
We got a couple things, entertainment, who pays for, how, what do we?
Those are being, I have to put it in the budget so she can account for it, but those are being sponsored by K Nova this year.
Is that,
The entertainment, the porta, which they've always paid for my porta
I
johns.
understand that, but I mean, is that really ethical?
Actually, when you go to the training, you
I'm
can,
reading it out of the ethics book right here.
well, when I was at the training and I asked, can developers give donations? I said, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I agree, developers can, but when you're voting on something for the developer, can they? Because that's what this is saying here, if it's something that's
Well, my vote
involved,
can't be bought.
what?
My vote can't be bought.
I'm just saying, it looks at the impropriety, just looks bad.
it's the appearance.
Well, we can mix it off and not have any of the festivals this year, if that's how you guys feel.
That's all I'm saying, that's
What,
not.
where else am I gonna get that, you know, the
Well,
money for?
We could actually start a Discover Commercial Point, a little department, and actually start charging for food trucks, start charging.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want that because I feel that they don't want me to be a part of it.
No,
Although
well,
I
why
built
don't-
this for the ground up.
would be, why would
I
it be
wouldn't
you?
be a
should-
part of
you
it.
should
I
always
would,
be a
I
part
would
of it.
have no voting authority if you did that on like any, I would not have any pool in it whatsoever. Lockhorn has it.
But wouldn't you be able to organize everything?
No.
And- Well, why not?
How they do it? Lockbourne.
Lockbourne has a separate group. However, the mayor and their council, some of their councils are on it.
But they
Their
can't.
village administrator is on it. But it's an outside organization that has their own, they can charge for things, they can do whatever they want.
But the mayor and council, they have no say.
We could
They have
No
say
vote.
in it. They do, but they're not in their mayor
Yeah,
and
but
council capacity. They're
You told me they have no
My
vote.
point.
No,
my point
I
is
said
this
they're
should not
part
be-
of the
this is not
committee.
village business.
But not as the mayor or a council
I
member.
mean, for
Is that downtown improvement committee?
It's
This
just called
whole thing
Rediscover
should be-
Lockbourne. It's just like a
501c3.
little, it is.
Yeah.
It's city.
Well, the 501c3, you need an attorney for. We've looked at it. It's very costly.
Well, we got an attorney.
We have.
Are you an attorney, Bill?
It's been
Do
rumored.
you write 501c3s?
It's she's talking about is similar to a downtown improvement group, Columbus, 2020, Columbus 2051.
Right.
Yeah, it's completely separate
Newark
from the
downtown
council.
improvement.
Right, it's totally separate from everything.
It's basically an improvement corporation that is responsible for bringing dollars in to attract new businesses. It's separate and apart from any legal structure of a village, township, or any municipal corporate.
Correct. I agree with that.
Okay, so
And that's
here's,
like
here's the
AJ
question. I
Discover
can't pull a
and-
501c3 out in
No.
a matter of weeks. So it's either we nix it, whatever,
I
which
think
is up
We
to you
have
guys.
money in the budget for the village to pay for it. There's money.
It's just
in
never
the
been a
budget.
problem. And I feel like
No,
last
I'm
time I was attacked, like
No,
No,
they
that's
don't
not
want me a
bad.
part of it.
No, you shouldn't feel that way.
No, we're not trying to attack you, but it's basically, you just saw what happened out there in public. And then they find out that we're getting donations from K-Nova. No matter what our vote is, it's not going to be good to the
That's
public.
fine. We can just nix it.
Well, I don't think we ought to nix it.
I'm saying
No
we
one's
have
saying,
the money
yeah.
in the budget. We didn't even have to get their
Let's just use,
donations if that's how you're looking at
let's
it.
just use the money
I
in the
mean,
budget.
We've got 350,000 and 100,000.
Yeah, there's plenty of money in
And
there.
something, my only other question is, I really feel that we should have our own license for movies because the school
We're not
board-
doing movie nights. That's why I put to be determined. I don't have enough people to help me with it, so I'm not
Okay.
doing it.
Can we use the money in the budget for the,
Absolutely.
I don't like the idea of voting on something and then having people say, well.
I get you, but I just want people to know that you're not taking it out of me helping.
No.
No.
We're
I
not-
know, I guess I'm very sensitive on it because nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
Nobody thought it would
And we
ever
think
go
we-
in this town.
We realize you're doing a great job with it, and we think it's good for the community. It's just
I
that
get
one
you.
little
That's
part.
fine.
I mean, you do a good job, as I said, it works out good. There's a lot of attendance. People love it. I mean, and I have absolutely no problem with it. 'Cause I think it's great for the community.
And donations aren't a problem, but for a developer donation.
Yeah, I mean, if you get something from the bar, you get something from anybody
Well,
else in
that may
town,
not be good either because we vote on liquor licenses and stuff.
well, that's a problem then. So I
You
mean,
know,
you're gonna have to
so-
find a
Well, I would,
balance.
the reason I didn't go with the bar is because of situations
Being a
there. I
bar,
didn't want
yeah.
to be a part of that.
Yeah.
But
If we got money in the budget, let's just use that,
You
and that
have
way,
it clean.
plenty of
Yeah.
money
Keep it
in
clean.
your budget. So absolutely. I
Well,
mean, if you guys are.
yeah, we'll
good
keep it clean, but I want you all to know my vote cannot be bought.
we understand that, but it's not.
Nobody
even
would
Yeah.
ever insinuate that.
No,
Yeah.
it's the
It's
problem
not-
is,
yeah.
Okay, I just want to make that clear.
It's just a perception.
we all know that, but I'll tell you, after what I heard out here tonight,
Yeah.
they're sure as hell not gonna believe it.
Well, and we got to remember, we've got to get this stuff in line. We've only got 6 years to we're city, and then we're under even more of a microscope.
You know, but I think we ought to try to get the,
Okay, well, somebody
The
can get that
license.
501c3 going up.
I,
It's not something I do.
I have a question is, why do we not do more stuff with the men's club property that already have the 501c3? I asked that out of ignorance. I don't know.
the only problem is, a lot of times, in my opinion, I think the men's club likes to be 100% in charge of it. And it just gets diluted all of a sudden. She's doing something that's good for the community. Well, they want to try something else. Well, they try something that screws it all up. And then they say, oh, well, Nancy didn't do a very good job. Well, no, Nancy didn't have any say in it because you guys took it over.
Well, that's
I
why if we
actually
had
did
civic-
go to them before we started food trucks and they said no.
See if we could use their spot.
So,
I think with her doing it, it's a great thing because it's working
And-
well.
and it's a village event. I believe it should be on village property.
And I think she, as I said, I'm thrilled to death with what they're doing and the turnout. I don't think you can get much better turnout. I really don't.
Only if we had more room.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I mean,
but other than that, I mean,
Yeah, who, is the village wanting to pay for the 501c3?
Is that allowed?
I don't
So
know
if
if
this
we're
becomes a
permitted to
separate
do that.
group,
So,
is the village allowed?
Forming a downtown improvement group or a 501c3 along those lines would take more than just the village. instituting a
Well, you need a
501c3.
civic
Which is
group,
why we-
You need
something.
a civic group.
Yeah.
You probably want to look at the townships surrounding the area. It's a long-term,
it's not gonna be done overnight.
no.
It's probably
I
maybe
can-
next year.
For me to even report to you back on the requirements, you go through 6119, which is the Ohio Revised Code on downtown district improvements.
See, I don't know that Lockbourne's is that big. It's just a group of,
Lockport could
Residents?
have, I mean, similar to other groups of concerned residents that raise money and put on fireworks shows, right? But what Jay's talking about is having a fund that is for use of
We don't have it.
the greater public good. But it would be something bigger than that. If you were to form a 501c3 and you were to be a member of said 501c3, and you were to appoint a board to said 501c3 and get a tax ID number and then get insurance and then put the money in, you would spend it on limited items such as attracting new business.
Okay.
Civic improvements, something for the veterans, some kind of Remembrance Day.
Okay.
Name the topic that a civic organization would wish to undertake on behalf of a governmental entity. And that's usually run through a downtown improvement group. And that
Okay.
gets bigger as a city, a village, a township, a couple of municipal corporations come together and form a body politic to
Mhm.
raise those funds for civic uses. It can be done. And there's nothing inherently wrong with local businesses donating monies to your fireworks program, to your movie night, to your food truck, whatever. I think the problem that Jay's bringing up is you're looking at a donation from a company that has legislation in front of you, which no one here is taking it. No one here is taking the money. No one here
Right.
is using the money personally. No one here is taking it to run for office. It's the appearance of impropriety that I think has Jay worried. And it's not Nancy's impropriety. It's not the village's impropriety. It's, what does it look like?
Perceived impropriety is what it is.
So how do we get the money? We have to ask sponsors, like businesses
It's a bigger question than we're going to answer tonight.
Can the village actually make a donation?
The village can donate to any civic program that it wishes to for the betterment of its
So
citizens.
That's it.
That would be it right there. The village can donate.
So the village would donate to this group.
The village would, if you were to form a 501c3, once again, you're getting way ahead of
Yeah,
No,
we have,
what do we do
that's
for
my
now?
blood
Time out,
group.
time
We
out,
don't have
time
a
out.
group to donate it to.
Getting way ahead of
Yes.
the question at hand, and that is budget.
Right.
If you're looking at new legislation on a 501c3, you're looking at a 30, 60, 90-day presentation from myself and others that are experts in the area. We're not going to do it tonight. We're not going to finish it
Okay.
tonight. So we're just here talking about the budget. What does Park and Recs need in their budget? And how much of that is the village's money versus donated funds?
We have enough money in the budget to do
We
this, right?
absolutely do.
Then let's just do it that way.
And that's where we're at.
Everybody agree with that?
I absolutely. If we have money in the budget that way, it's clean, it can't be perceived anyway.
Yeah, I just saw
And
a lot of angry
People that have
out
paid
there.
that fee every time they build a house,
Yeah.
we can say, well, this is what, the park money's going for.
All right, moving on. Permissive motor vehicles.
That's
Same
from
thing, that's
tax
just
relief.
the
Uh,
money that's sitting in.
American Recovery Act, that was COVID money, which we don't have it anymore. So that's still in there. Police enforcement and education.
That one as
Question.
well as the
Oh,
other
go
one are for training, pretty much, or if he needs ammo for training, or
Oh,
most of them can, I think the one can only be used for OBI's
Yes.
training.
Yes.
that
And
was
then,
my,
Yeah,
Okay,
they get
cool.
reimbursed for some of the training that they actually go and take, and then I have to put it into these two funds.
Yeah, the
Okay, so
second
why
one
does
is
it
I was
say-
wondering about the two
Why does it
different
say
buckets.
dollars spent in 2023? Like,
'Cause we didn't
nothing.
spend anything under the OVI training.
Okay,
I think
Was
that's the one that's the OVI.
okay.
Yeah.
So there wasn't anybody that needed that?
We didn't, nobody asked to go to any OVI training.
That would be
I
for
know
like
of.
officers want to be ADAP certified or something
Well,
that,
I think if there's training, they should take advantage of.
Well, we don't want to send them to training until they're at least off probationary status. And that seems to be our problem.
Yeah.
Everyone out there's
Yeah.
got 6
So
months
we should
service.
see some of that in.
I would
Yeah.
hope to see
Yeah.
some more additional, or some trainings take
Okay.
off again. Yeah.
Ohio Peace Officer Ed and Enforce.
So does that go under police as well? Because
Yes,
it's
both
peace
of those.
officer education. Okay, just making sure. So we have 3 buckets for that. Okay.
Okay, housing,
That was the in and out fund.
yeah.
Okay.
TIF funds,
So we have collected TIF dollars. The 2024 permanent budget numbers are all pretty much estimates. I'm getting a lot better understanding of the TIF and how they are spent and all that sort of stuff. So again, these are just estimates. You will see some money spent
Ask
this
everybody.
year. Do what?
so I was just so I understand, these TIF numbers, those are the ones that we use to reimburse people that are doing improvements, correct?
Correct.
For these individual,
Well, for the K-Nova, that's the one that gets reimbursed, as well as Van Trust, Cassuti, and Foxfire. The
So-
rest is village dollars.
the Chestnut Commons,
That he does not get reimbursed.
971,000 Chestnut Commons.
That is Chestnut Commons. That is an estimate. I think there's actually $778,000 in there, but we're going to be using that. Alan, isn't that the one that we use to
Yes.
make a sewer?
Chestnut
And the one
Commons
per point.
TIF money, the income from that will be used to make one of the 2 payments on the new sewer plant.
Oh,
Yes.
And that was the idea for that.
yeah.
And it's kind of built up because we haven't spent any, and
Right.
Wendy and I had even talked about possibly maybe using some of that to make a pay down so we don't have to borrow quite so much money
Mhm.
Of course.
starting out, which would make our payments lower. And
Yeah.
so it's just one of them kind of deals. But right now, the money is in the TIF. Council had okayed to put the Chestnut Commons and also the Scioto Crossing
Mhm.
dollars was to go to make the second payment.
Mhm.
So that's kind of, those 2 are kind of earmarked. Some of the other ones, as Wendy said, we've got developers we got to pay back with some of it and everything else. So we're kind of in the middle. So we don't really have a lot there that's ours at this point in time, but we'll get there.
And when that money comes in, that could be used for roads in those areas when it comes time, right?
If the money like came in from, like we have with prime examples, the Foxfire TIF.
Yeah.
As Foxfire doing their TIF, we have a contract with the developer. He will get the first $2 million that comes in on that TIF.
Okay.
After he collects that, any additional revenue that comes in on that, yes, if you want to use it to pave the streets at Foxfire, you can move the money, you can take the money out of the TIF and take it to that direction.
So as we come up with more, but it has to be like the Chestnut Commons, if there's money, it has to be Chestnut Commons streets that it's used for. That
Mhm.
it's very specific.
It-
right?
it's
It
very-
has to benefit that locale.
Right,
Mhm.
okay.
And by
That's why we
using it for a
did
sewage
here.
plant, it benefits.
It does.
that
Absolutely,
locale.
yeah. I just want to make sure I understood it correctly. Thank you.
okay,
Good.
CRA fund,
That I think just is paid on administrative stuff to do with the CRA.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have a question, on before the debt service commercial point. We had done a temporary of 200,000, and the final's only 45. What's that?
Because of the way the TIF dollars were coming in, again, temporary budget, Eric, is nothing but guesses.
Okay,
And so I did more realistic in the permanent budget.
okay, thank you.
all right. Water fund. Any questions on that?
I think the biggest thing that needs to be addressed on this is we are looking at bringing in another employee down at the plant. And I guess that'd be split, Wendy, 50-50 between
Correct.
water and sewer.
This year?
Yes. We've got our guy out there now is out there till 3:00 in the morning, quite a few nights, working weekends and everything else,
Okay.
trying to get everything put together. And he needs some help.
Is that person built into this?
Yes,
Yes.
Thank you.
and the wages are bumped up some. Their actual total budget amount is to cover overtime. And if one of them, God forbid, were to leave, to pay out vacation and personal days.
And you feel that's, what you put in there is enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
And I guess I'll ask, is council okay with us going ahead and getting another employee.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
Yeah.
gonna cut
Yes, sir.
overtime, it kind of pays for itself.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure everyone's,
Yeah.
I don't want to go out hiring, unlike the police department where we have legislation, every time we've added an employee or done something, we've had to come to council. The utility department was never set up that way.
Nope.
And I think you're probably going to be seeing some legislation I need to get with Bill. I'd like to get the police department back to the way the utility department is. The way you control the number of employees is by setting this budget, not by every time we need to hire someone, we got to come to council and
I
ask.
agree.
Because right now, we're into a situation, the legislation, the ordinance says we have so many officers, a chief and a sergeant. If the sergeant leaves, I can't bring an officer to take his place.
Right. You have to.
So we run around, I'd have to promote somebody, and if we're not ready to promote somebody,
I know.
then we're sitting there down an employee because of the way the ordinance is written. So it's just kind of like we need to get the police department an ordinance, some legislation put together, or do away with it, however we want to do it, and then council can control, like I said, ultimately, council controls the employees by setting the budget. So in the utility department, council doesn't have to approve anything other than you set the budget, and I let you know, hey, we need employees, everyone good with this? And then I'll move forward and we'll start put out the paperwork and we'll start working on getting someone in here.
Are we close enough to needing another street department person this year? Or is that maybe next year?
That I don't think is this year. What we are doing, and we have utilized our utility tech in the utility department. We have, if you have a license, you're a plant operator. If you don't have a license, we have one employee with no license. He's a utility tech. We've bounced him over to the street department when needed. Plowing snow there. The first time we plowed snow, he took off in one truck and Mike in the street
Yeah.
department.
But
in
under
the
that
other.
new thing, is there a 0 step in their new pay thing?
It's in what council approved when they did the administrative guidelines at the end of last year, or the first meeting in January.
So this wouldn't supersede that, because according to this, he can't be a sewer guy because he doesn't have anything.
Right, this is just to replace the guys with license, or to straighten up the people with license.
So he's separate.
He is separate from that, yeah. He's not a plant operator, he's a utility clerk.
Oh, okay.
Not clerk, utility tech.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but yeah, if council's good, we are going to look at that. It is
Yeah.
built into the budget, and we'll be moving forward with that immediately.
Okay, sewer fund, pretty much the same.
It is.
And all those big numbers are just the plant expansion and stuff, right?
Garbage fund is what it is.
In and out.
And our increase for garbage was 8% this year.
It's a new contracted price. It started in January, and yes, it does go up.
Okay. I just,
Can somebody talk to these people about actually getting trash in their truck?
There are phone calls made. When's the last time a phone call was made?
I actually
Last week?
emailed him last week.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
It's a
think what
constant.
The problem is, and a lot of people will tell you that this is the problem, people don't put their trash in a bag.
Right.
I
They
think.
just throw it in. Now recycling, I think, is where you're seeing the trash. in the
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is happening, is because if there's an arm that comes out, it dumps it, puts it back, the guys don't even get out of the truck.
No.
So I think that's what you're seeing is the recycling.
Right.
Not that it's any different, 'cause it's not, but I
Still
think
trash.
that's,
Yeah.
yes.
I would like to maybe make sure that the village, maybe, I don't know if that's be legislation, but your trash has to be in a container.
And-
I don't know how many times I've seen just trash bags sitting beside a container with all the stray cats and stuff, the coons and all that. I mean, is that something we need to address?
That's kind of crazy because I put my trash out by my can and nothing touches it.
Me too.
I think
have
we
bins where
can't-
I have
I think
bags.
that's
Ever.
I mean, because you can get a second can if you need
Spray
it.
it with Lysol, baby.
Well, for some
My whole
people
life
like
growing up.
myself, I'll have bags like maybe every other month. So I don't necessarily need a third
A whole
can
can.
just
Right.
sitting there, but having bags, yeah. Now I'm responsible. I wait till the morning
Yeah.
to take those out. But I don't know. I mean,
They brought
I
in-
haven't.
For us, they brought in a second truck, a small one, so they hit it in town, this part first.
Like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Sometimes it's 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's because we have our own smaller truck, and he just does Old Town
Yeah.
first, and then he gets rid of all that, then he goes and helps the other route.
Is there any more discussion
Just
on the budget?
One question,
Okay.
was it just this last year that we went to every week recycling
This is our third year
of every week?
of every week.
Because we started out with a schedule where it was every other week.
That was the
Yeah, that
last
was-
contract. So this is our third year on our
Okay,
current
this is-
contract. So we're gonna have to put it back out. to
Yeah,
bid
this will go out to bid.
Probably June, July, August, so we get a jump on it this
Will
year.
it be necessary to have recycle every week? I'm asking. I
We're
don't
looking at
People
the stuff
wanted
on.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's-
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you,
That's-
the cans that I see are plumb full.
Well, and mostly, fortunately, we see more recycling than we do trash. So.
I think when we get to that point also, council, in the past, the council had made a decision that every new person coming into town had to have recycling.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard, I think it's kind of ironic that we've got council members dictating you have to recycle and
I
the
do
majority
too.
of the council members do not recycle.
Yeah,
That to me is looking a little,
I do too. I
We say
totally
that?
agree with you.
yes, everyone new that comes in has to recycle. That was something that's
It's the
put into
ordinance.
place.
How do we take that away?
It's an ordinance. When the new contract comes up, I would suggest that we
Yeah.
council seriously look at
Yeah.
forcing people to
That
recycle.
was the previous
Yeah.
council.
And that's,
You mean
Yeah.
taking it away, that they don't have to?
Right.
Yeah.
it's,
We have had
Can we get bigger
maybe-
recycling cans?
We have had maybe over the last two years, and now with this part of this year, maybe 2 people asked to drop out of recycling.
Yeah.
So it's not
It's not
like
a huge
it
deal.
is not. So, but that's still.
they, yeah, it's on the books. You're forced, if you come in here and buy a house, you're forced to recycle.
Well, and honestly, when it goes in the truck, they're recycling a lot of times. They don't have a truck, so they put it in the trash truck. Because when they take it to Canal, they've got a whole
Yeah.
facility. If you've never seen it, it's quite impressive.
Yeah.
And they recycle everything over there. So honestly, we're paying for their people over there. It could all go in the trash can, and it still gets, because they get paid by the government to recycle it.
Yeah, like I said, it's just to put it out there. The contract's coming up. Council may want to
So
look
we
at
change
it.
it then, or we
Figure out what you want to do by then.
Right, right.
Just the last question, so
Kick her under
Wendy
the table.
is clear.
I
The,
asked the
um,
question.
This Kubota, do we feel that's something we want to wait until next year to purchase?
I think so.
If council wants to leave it there, and we won't purchase it until we hear something from council.
That's the way you can ask these people if they actually positively. need
And it'll
it.
give you
That's
time, and that way,
Yeah.
if they come in or something comes up where they think they have to have it, I'll have them put something in writing and submit it to council, and the money would be there, and if they don't need it, we don't get it.
Can
I-
we do
I-
that?
I like that. I
Can we
like
do
that.
that? Because he's allowed to spend that much without asking.
They won't, they won't.
Oh, okay.
And that's where the trust comes in.
They
It's
won't.
not on mine.
But yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean, put it there because like I said, it's
Sorry.
justified.
Okay, do we have any additional business? Any other discussion on anything?
I just,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Go
just
ahead.
would like to, when are we gonna have some of these issues fixed that were asked for in December with the streets and stuff? I've asked, I've talked to him and I can't get an answer.
You know, are we talking about the signs and the,
Yeah.
you know, that really, should that go, I mean, it's obviously not
Was,
us.
the engineer was going to look at it and get back to you. Has she not gotten back to you on the inventory?
John Gross sent him out and they've identified several, but he just hasn't told him to make the changes.
Well, the engineer was going to look at what's required by ODOT. And she and John were going to have an inventory.
I will-
I haven't seen said inventory yet.
I-
Alan.
did he get signs yet?
He has not ordered any signs with me. He ordered a new stop sign, a new blinking stop sign. That was the latest purchase we just did, because one was not working. But to come in
I
here
will
and tell me,
I will tell them to have an answer ready for you at the next council meeting.
The
well, I
only
need to know
other
what
thing-
kind of budget dollars we have to. Maybe that could have been his whole, John could have told him to wait until the budget was passed and then purchase a splice. I don't know. I'm
Most of it's
just
just
throwing that out
fixing
there.
what's up. They're just improper and then stop bars and stuff. But the only other thing is that in between 8:45 and 9 o'clock every morning, if I'm out, I help them. But the school kids crossing Main Street, nobody's doing anything about those flashing yellow lights. And they
They're
have
not-
to play Frogger.
They're not working or?
No, they're working, but
Oh.
nobody stops. Nobody
I know, I
yields or
just
anything.
walk out
Yeah,
front
I mean, I
of
literally in the
the
morning, if I'm home, I'll go out and help them. Can
Sounds
that
like we
be
need a
made
patrolman then.
either more red? red lights where they have to stop, or
I
can
don't think
we
it would matter.
have an officer there?
I- I don't see kids when they're not stopping. I mean,
One kid hit it 4 times. I was finally able to get out from underneath my car where I was working on it, and I went and hit it. I just roll out.
Then they
If
need
they hit me,
something.
I'm gonna leave it
they
there.
need something else other than the signs then.
Well, that's
Shouldn't the
something
school
like
have
the
a crossing
school
guard?
should have a
That's what I
crossing
was
guard. I mean, I
Or
think
the
that,
school's never had
I
a
mean, there's only
crossing
5
guard
kids,
in
but
my
there are
opinion.
5 kids.
Yeah, but that's 5
Right.
kids,
Right.
one crossing guard.
Right.
I don't,
Second.
I don't
It's for 10
think,
minutes.
I don't
10 to
think
15
the
minutes.
color of the lights is gonna make any difference.
Yeah. nobody-
And I
That's
quite
crossing guard.
Kids gotta
honestly,
get in their pocket.
I
If they're
quite
fast.
honestly don't think you can put red lights up on ODOT on a highway without
Yeah,
ODOT
that'd be-
You can
approval.
put an officer there 3 days a week and hand out a couple tickets.
And that's,
That-
I don't do
that
it.
would be the other
It'll
choice. And
change behavior.
if we,
I wanna do that.
I've asked.
once again, if we put the officer there, we're pulling him from the school.
Yeah.
He can't
Do
be
we have
both.
two
We
out?
have a
Not
resource
every day
officer.
you don't have 2 officers.
No, we have a resource officer for the school.
The resource officer works for the county. He doesn't report
Yeah.
to the village
I get that, but why do we need somebody at the school also if we have a resource officer there?
because we've wanted someone because of all the traffic. If you sit in
Oh,
my
my
office
Lord.
and just
Oh,
watch
yeah.
them.
Oh,
down
yeah.
through
My
there.
wife takes 15 minutes to get to work.
And
I get that.
And my thing with the police chief was I want someone there between certain time and certain
Yeah.
time,
Mhm.
either the school zone, on the school grounds or something, so the traffic at the school slows down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We can't
So-
slow it down everywhere at the same time. I mean, now, can we bounce them around? We can try that. I don't have a problem trying that to see if at the same time, you can't fix stupid.
Well,
If
but-
people's gonna blow through a
Yeah,
crosswalk with
that's
flashing
the
lights and
way.
little kids,
So we have
I mean, they
an
do it when we're
officer
standing in the line.
and out, and then the chief's in here, correct?
not all the time. No, the chief has been going out a couple of days also.
Okay. I just wondered if we only had one and he was here, maybe he could go.
Occasionally, they're
Sit at
both
one
out in the
place.
mornings. I've been coming in, and I generally pull up and see where the officers are. And one of the first things I do in the morning. And if they're not around the school, I make a phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. If they would see somebody getting pulled over, I don't care if they're right to take or not, but it's going to modify behavior.
Mhm.
I mean, if they're not stopping for that, then
I agree it will, but
Are
I
you
don't know that it would last. I mean, it's last like it did out here.
Maine and Congress.
The other,
Main and Congress.
the other
Yeah, where they
day,
have the flashing.
Okay.
one of the cops was sitting at the entrance waiting to pull out. Let me tell you, that's the slowest I've ever seen people pull and go through here.
And
And
that
I
yeah.
know
And that's
why
what-
they
and
park
that's
at
what it
halls my
takes.
whole life.
and that's what it
Literally.
takes
I
for
get
us
it.
to have an
Yeah.
officer sitting there. And the first day he's not there,
They're like,
Yeah.
oh,
There-
yeah,
I mean, you-
they don't care.
it's-
And it's parents taking their kids. I
Yeah.
watch them. I sit on my porch
that's
and
what
watch
it is.
them.
That is the situation.
Any other additional business?
One other thing just to mention, for sake of information. Postal Service is still a couple of weeks out, at least, on starting rural delivery of all the addresses. For example, mine has not been put into the system
That's on
yet.
purpose.
And I know, in Pontiac, Michigan, as soon as all the addresses are in the system, they say they're gonna start. But we're looking still at another couple of weeks.
What is your address becoming?
11?
Orion?
It'll be
No, because,
It's on
no,
Allen.
mine is Commercial Point because there is no existing delivery on that street.
Yeah.
If you live on a
My
street
mistake.
where
Commercial
there
Point
is
too.
existing delivery with a different
You have
zip
to.
code and
Because-
identity, you have to conform to that address system.
So I have to change living where I do, I have to become an Orient address.
Yes.
And I become a resident of
Of
Orient
Orient.
that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Well,
Because the post office is being run by
Put it out on.
My
our-
question-
It's run by Congress, if that helps you.
My question is, when I go to renew my tags and I give them 22 Main Street Orient, is my permissive money going to go just to the township, and are we not going to get that money?
We don't have,
That's
The-
probably what's gonna happen.
well, if it is identified, that's where you have to make sure that on the box, it is clicked in village limits. If that box is not, your Commercial Point is your physical, because when they come to arrest you, they're not gonna go to Orient.
Right,
Even
no,
if
but
you put
I'm
it
just
on
talking about the
GPS
tag money.
Orient, it still
When-
comes
The tag money when you fill out that form, you check and you make sure that
I
box
never
is
think
checked.
I'm in Orient because we don't get to put Commercial Point because I don't have a PO box.
But your physical address is what goes
Yeah.
on your driver's license, not your mailing address.
So you would put 22 Main Street, Commercial Point, Ohio.
Exactly.
Again, on the GPS, those
Exactly.
come up in Commercial Point.
Yeah, they do. If you put
If you put
actually
Orient-
FedEx has to put Orient, or it does. It takes them to the middle of
Shoot,
the
FedEx
cornfield.
be
And you
putting
know,
Lockborns
and the
on some of
reason
this
it, the
stuff.
reason
Don't
it's
tell
that
me
way
that.
is because they're trying to use the Postal Service database,
Right, and we don't exist.
and it doesn't.
Is there any other additional business before we
I
Most
make
move
a
on?
of-
motion.
I
Motion
second.
by Aldrea.
Second over there.
Second by who?
Me.
Laura.
Laura.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. It's been
Opposed?
fun.
Don't lie. Under
Hey,
oath.
we did